Nathan Murphy, we spoke about him on Tuesday's episode and his retirement. Yeah, it's sad, coming off the back of concussion, and we saw it with Angus Brayshaw only a few months earlier. I guess that begs the question, is it time to stop celebrating courage in football?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I don't think courage in general should ever stop being celebrated. I mean, yeah, nothing garners more respect from your coaches and your teammates than putting your head over the footy and committing an act of courage. But I guess when you do hear the reports and you're seeing someone be medically retired, it's it just adds to all the importance and the new moves the AFL is trying to make to try and alter the way that players are approaching contests. I do wonder now if the language in the game is going to change because of this. Now, Nathan Murphy, when you think of the saying, when it's your turn to go, you got to go. Well, that was Nathan Murphy to a T, just with the way that he played, and he flew himself into packs with no regard for his own safety. But he was sort of that height where he could do that, but he could also go hard at the ground ball as well, which is the sort of contest that he was last involved in with Lincoln McCarthy in the grand final. So while it's always fine to celebrate those sort of acts, and you can go back to the Jonathan Brown and the Nick Rewalt marks, which everyone knows, that they get played over and over simply because they're just such good acts of courage. And I now wonder whether coaches at the junior level, more specifically, caution against their players trying to really emulate those sort of acts. I'm not saying they should necessarily, tell these kids to not go back with the flight, but the reality is your health and well-being is more important than your football career, and that's why Angus Brayshaw and Nathan Murphy have made these calls recently. So I don't think we stop celebrating acts of courage. The reason why we say they're courageous is because we all know they're putting themselves in harm's way. But I just wouldn't be surprised if we see less and less of those acts, knowing what the repercussions are in this day and age. So, yeah, maybe we don't stop celebrating acts of courage, but maybe the techniques are going to change.
Yeah, I think you said it best when you mentioned about Nathan Murphy and that when it's your time to go, you go. And we've heard that. That's a phrase that we've heard for years in footy. And I think players are maligned for not going when it's their time, or I guess supposed time to go. And so that probably leads to players putting themselves in harm's way because they don't want to be seen as the player that chickened out of a contest, for lack of a better way of putting that. I said on Tuesday, I think that we will see more players retiring because players need to put their health first. As simple as that. It's not a sport where they don't have the luxury of being paid tens and tens of millions of dollars to play every year. And you need to look after yourself. You need to think about what will I be doing for the next chapter of my life, the next chapters of my life. How can I continue to make an income and work and support my family and lifestyle? And I think we will see more players retiring due to concussion and long-lasting effects of injury, particularly concussion. And I think it's a good thing to see. We need players to look after themselves. We don't want to have players down the line 30, 40, 50 years and lawsuits coming up and why wasn't it done better, or why was there not more research or thought going into this from the AFL